Susanna F., who was raped and choked to death by this individual, this Iraqi migrant. This is a 14-year-old girl we're talking about. They tried to do a minute's silence for her. The leftists in the German parliament basically heckled and started shouting and shut down a minute's silence for a 14-year-old girl raped and choked to death. Well, the Iraqi migrant who was responsible for that murder and then tried to flee the country, it's been revealed that he now bragged about how easy it was in Germany while he was still there. Bashar evaded prosecution for the horrific crime. As we said, he fled the country. But according to his relatives, he would often brag about how good he had it in Germany, not having to work, benefiting from generous welfare payments, and receiving, quote, a salary from the state. They said they were doing well in Germany, a cousin of Bashar told a newspaper. So he had it great. His family had it great. Then he murdered a 14-year-old girl. They had to flee the country. They've got this guy back. He's going to be charged. But again, this goes to the root of the problem and exposes the lie that Angela Merkel brought in this refugee wave on, which was that they need to supplement the labor force.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Now, before the break, I was talking about the migrant crisis. Of course, Trump referenced it yesterday and said that's what he doesn't want happening in America. People literally being their homes being requisitioned to be replaced by migrants who are fresh off a boat that same day. Imagine that happening. Well, it's happening in European countries right now. We had another story about a hospital on the Italian island of Sardinia that was ordered to kick out local patients in order to make way for migrants. Finally, Italy's got a government that's saying no and standing up to this invasion, which is basically what it's become. The German government, in Berlin, they had a 10,000 homeless population, yet we're spending 18,000 euros per year per refugee on housing them in upmarket hotels. I mean, Spain's got a huge unemployment rate, right? Their green economy failed. They've still got high unemployment. And yet these migrants just arrived fresh from African countries, free housing, 495 euros a month, benefits, welfare, free healthcare, and basically sticking the middle finger up to their own population. Meanwhile, in Germany, this went up on Infowars.com just a short time ago. Germany, migrant who murdered teen girl bragged about everything being free, no need to work. This is the Iraqi migrant. We had a video last week from the German parliament where they tried to do a minute's silence for his victim, Susanna F., who was raped and choked to death by this individual, this Iraqi migrant. This is a 14-year-old girl we're talking about. They tried to do a minute's silence for her. The leftists in the German parliament basically heckled and started shouting and shut down a minute's silence for a 14-year-old girl raped and choked to death. Well, the Iraqi migrant who was responsible for that murder and then tried to flee the country, it's been revealed that he now bragged about how easy it was in Germany while he was still there. Bashar evaded prosecution for the horrific crime. As we said, he fled the country. But according to his relatives, he would often brag about how good he had it in Germany, not having to work, benefiting from generous welfare payments, and receiving, quote, a salary from the state. They said they were doing well in Germany, a cousin of Bashar told a newspaper. So he had it great. His family had it great. Then he murdered a 14-year-old girl. They had to flee the country. They've got this guy back. He's going to be charged. But again, this goes to the root of the problem and exposes the lie that Angela Merkel brought in this refugee wave on, which was that they need to supplement the labor force. Okay, it's a fact that the population of Europe, the native population, is basically dying off because nobody's having kids. So Merkel said, look, we need these migrants. We need fresh bodies. We need a workforce to pay taxes and to fund social welfare programs, or they're going to collapse. So, of course, we need to bring in millions of migrants from the Middle East and Africa. Who's going to do the crappy jobs? Who's going to pay the taxes? Well, it turns out that 3% of the migrants who came in on that initial wave actually got jobs. In fact, in Germany now, out of all migrants, it's 50% are on welfare. So, no, that doesn't happen. They don't come in and work. Some of them do, and good for them. In fact, we've seen in a lot of countries, in Sweden, for example, hardworking migrants who build businesses and hire employees actually get deported quicker than criminals in some cases because they messed up on some technicality on their application. We've seen that in Sweden many times. But in terms of, oh, we need a labor force, no, the statistics just don't bear it out. We've seen in Sweden, 58% of welfare payments go to migrants.
So what's the end game, Paul? What's the plan? Why are they doing it?
Well, they're doing it to replace the population, essentially. I mean, what did Macron say? He said we need to import 150, 200 million Africans into Europe over the next 30 years. So it's a replacement, and it's basically going back to feudalism. They're not even going to vote, most of these migrants. People say, oh, you know, they're going to turn them into great voting blocks. Most of them aren't even going to vote, maybe a couple of generations down the line. But again, it's about total domination. It's about dependency. They want a population that's dependent and will never challenge their power monopoly. And they're quite happy to replace the existing population while claiming to be great humanitarians.
Exactly. What they really are is like in Escape from New York, where they put explosives in his arteries, where he doesn't follow orders, they can just detonate them. Or Baron Harkonnen in Doom, you know, in the film remake, has a heart plug where you can just pull the heart plug out on somebody and kill them. They're a giant group, 90% aren't going to be allowed to work, who anytime the globalists don't like what the public's doing, they can be activated like they do routinely in England and France to burn down major cities. So they're being brought in by the globalists as a terror detonation switch that they can activate through the leadership anytime they want, Paul.
And the point to make is that, Alex, we're always demonized as being inhumane and heartless for opposing saving refugees. Well, who's incentivizing the refugees to come in the first place? Thousands of whom have died on these boats, drowned to death. The incentivization is coming from the criminal people smugglers working with the NGOs and these leftist governments. They're to blame for people drowning at sea because they wouldn't make the trip if they weren't promised safe welfare havens. It would not be happening.
Well, the NGOs are funded by Soros publicly and the UN. They run it.
The other point to make is that the migrants coming across from these African countries are predominantly what would be treated in those countries as middle class. So it's also a brain drain because they're the only ones who can afford to pay the people smugglers to get in the boat in the first place. So we're actually harming the countries that they're coming from because they're losing people who do actually work, who do have jobs, in some cases skilled jobs. So it's harming those countries as well as harming Western countries. So all down the line, the consequences are bad for everyone.
But it's okay because J.K. Rowling has taken 1,000 refugees at her London home.
Yeah, that didn't happen. She had 18 spare bedrooms. I counted them up. No refugees taken thus far. But we're going to get more into it after the break with our guest talking about the migrant crisis. This is the fourth hour of the Alex Jones Show live. Breaking news at Infowars.com. We'll be back.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
I want to tell you about these great specials at InfoWarsStore.com because you know we're under sustained attack. We talk about it on a regular basis. It's lawfare. It's happening virtually every day now. They're trying to shut us down. If they can't throw certain people in prison, they'll try to shut them down financially. We're not subject, we're not vulnerable to boycotts like a lot of people because we rely only on you getting the products, and you've been fantastic with your support for such a long amount of time. We still have the Deep State Special running, which is 50% off a lot of your favorite products, including Survival Shield X2, Brain Force Plus, the Real Red Pill Plus, Silver Bullet Alpha Power, Supermel, and Super Female Vitality. These are all 50% off with free shipping. Stock up now. You can go and check out the 5-star reviews at InfoWarsStore.com. Again, we really need your support to thrive and to expand this network. You've seen what we've done with it to the point where, you know, they're having congressional hearings saying that we have to be shut down. We're being hit with lawsuits on a regular basis because it's part of this wave of resentment from the left, from the establishment that has really picked up since the election of Donald J. Trump. And it's because they hate us, they hate our influence, they hate the fact that we're independent, we're not beholden to checks from George Soros, we're not beholden to advertising payments from Gulf state dictatorships like CNN. We're only beholden to you, our viewers, our fantastic viewers who've supported us through the years by getting the products at InfoWarsStore.com. 50% off, free shipping. That special is not going to knock around for long. In fact, this is the final day. This is it. Final day of this special, 50% off all your favorite products with free shipping at InfoWarsStore.com. DISGRACE.com.